Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen here with life coach Linda Armstrong. Today is Friday, August the 16th, 2019. It is 4 p.m. in New York, and that's 1 p.m. Los Angeles time. And that means it is, I believe, 9 p.m. in London, and let's see, that would be like 5 a.m., I think it is, in Tokyo, 6 a.m. in Sydney. Well, I mean, crazy times, but whatever. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And I'm just happy that the week is winding up to the point of a weekend starting, because this has been one of those weeks where I find myself, I get 1 hour to do something, and then I'm off to do the next thing, and then a half hour to do this. And you can do that if you stay in a good place and you just kind of keep your energy high. But it takes something out of you because you're constantly changing your attention. You know what I mean? I mean, I like it. I don't know. Maybe this is just my left brain tendency that I had for the longest time. I like it when I can just focus on something for like hours at a time, and just work with it and work with it and work with it. So for me, this is a little bit disjointed, but it's all good. Don't get me wrong.
It's kind of better that way when you can keep your focus on one thing. Because what happens really is we allow ourselves to get too scattered.
Right.
And we become ungrounded.
Yes.
To do us any good.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think you're right. You're right. That's exactly what it is. That's what I'm feeling. But weekend is mine. Now I can just go back to, focus on my stuff. And I got plenty of stuff to focus on, which is good. It's not like I lack stuff to focus on. So yeah, that's how my week's going. How you doing? We haven't talked in a week. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. I've been actually out in my yard all day, hauling dead wood and weeding and stuff like that. So I literally just ran in from doing that. But
that's appropriate, because Louise and I were just out doing a consult with a gardening customer who wants us to install a whole new garden. So we're definitely on the same page there.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to actually get your hands into the earth, Mm-hmm. It's really, like, I've been enjoying it. I've been hauling I've been doing a lot of heavy work, trimming trees and all kinds of stuff. But, it just, I'm enjoying being out there in that space. Mm-hmm. And just doing that, like you were saying, focusing on one thing instead of being scattered into all these other things that I am doing, could be doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, now that I think about it, this particular property we visited, the guy has he has like this is a suburban area. He's not really on a corner, but he's on like a curve, and he's got this long piece of road front, I guess you'd call it. On this curve. I'm guessing it's probably about 250 to 300 feet. And he's got it all mulched back about 10 feet or so, 10 or 12 feet. So that whole place is just one empty pile of mulch. There's no plants, there's no trees or anything. It's like a canvas. And it reminds me, it's kind of like a metaphor for what we do as deliberate creators. We're presented with this canvas. What do we want to grow there? What do we want to grow in our imaginations? What do we want to attract into our lives? And it's kind of nice to have that place to just start from scratch. It's like everything. It's just this bare piece of ground. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to put in?
Well, and what's so cool about that is that's what I've been doing in my beds. I've been totally clearing them out and getting them ready to do something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've talked a lot about how this particular quarter it's a quarter of new beginnings, and there's an example of it. This is a completely new beginning. Start from scratch, new canvas. You can just invent to your heart's content. And that's what this guy is thinking about hiring Louise to do, is to do the design, to come up with what's going to go in there.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It's a purging and a clearing and a bringing in new stuff. This is what's going on. You cannot get away from it in all different areas and all different ways. If you're not purging things like in your space, start doing it. Really, you'll feel so much. But some people, they don't realize. I like to do that a lot, so I can always feel the energy different in a room once I do that. But for people who aren't used to it, if you were just to clear things out, it's just clutter, things that are taken up, because you have energy ties to everything. So if there's stuff in your space that you just aren't even using, you're never going to look at it again. You kind of forgot it was there. It just happens to be there like wallpaper. Clear it out.
Yeah.
Once you do that, you'll feel the energy in the room will change. And when we want to bring in energy, like those of us on, who are psychic, becoming psychic, everybody's becoming more and more psychic. Just know that. This is part of this energy that's coming in. We're all uplifting our vibration, which in that higher vibration, it's easier to channel and receive energy.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's going through this in some way, whether they're conscious of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're clearing your energy, you're making space, you're creating room for this new stuff to come in. So you can receive downloaded information, you know, like you can hear your guides better.
Right.
Space is clearer. So it's that's really, I like your blank canvas kind of the way you started, because that's really it. Like, let's create some blank canvases so we can go forward in a new energy and say, okay, what do I want to do now?
Right.
How can I make this thing I've been working on even better? You know, or any kind of a project. You know, is there stuff in there that really doesn't, like streamlining is great. Mm-hmm. Streamline, clear out, make everything simple. The more simple, the better. At least that's the messages I've been getting.
Jeffrey just posted, yep, I just harvested and started germinating acorns. So he's working on the tree angle. Bringing those oak trees. All right. I actually wanted to address something else too. We'll get into our usual discussion. I can see you reaching for a card deck already, which is really cool. But I want to address something I normally don't address. Normally we stay away from news items and so forth. And I'm not going to address a particular news item. I want to address something, well, it's sort of a news item. And it's something that people would often consider to be a very negative thing, but I'm seeing it in a really positive way. And that's why I want to bring it up.
That sounds exciting.
Well, it'll be able.
I probably know nothing about it.
That's all right. That's all right. And well, it's something I know quite a bit about, so I think that's why I feel comfortable talking about it. There's a lot of talk in the news these days about how the U.S. economy and indeed the world economy may be heading into recession, which scares a lot of people.
You know what? You know what I have to say? That's bullshit. They want to put that, literally, it could be.
Sure.
But if you get the masses to start believing in it, then all of a sudden it starts manifesting.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to do. Yeah. No doubt about that. But I want to point out there's also another way to look at it.
Okay.
Because the other way to look at it is along the lines of what we're talking about here. Recession is really a time, people think of a recession as, oh my God, the economy's falling apart. Well, no, that's not actually what happens in a recession. All that happens in a recession is that the growth slows down and actually reverses a little bit. You know, so you have a consolidation. Well, what is taking a piece of land and clearing out all the space to start a new canvas? That's a consolidation period. That's a period of, you know what? I've got all this stuff that's been going on. It's gotten out of control. I'm going to just clean it up and get it out of the way. And my point that I want to make to people is the next time you hear somebody saying that a recession is coming, well, first of all, you don't have to buy into it. But even if you do buy into it, don't worry about it. All it really means is we're just going to start, you know, shaping down. We're going to kind of slow down everything, bring ourselves down to a quieter place, and then we're going to start building again. We're going to start creating our new space. So that my message is recession is not something to be afraid of. Recession is something that is like setting a new canvas for yourself. And you can look at it in that positive way and not get all worried about it.
Well, you know what? I hope a lot of people hear that, because you're not going to get that in the media.
No, not at all. The media doesn't say that.
Because, you know, it's all about controlling the masses.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And this is something that goes on throughout centuries. Mm-hmm. It's nothing new. I mean, it's just the way it is. But that's why we're trying to break that cycle now.
Right.
We're moving into this higher dimension where that isn't going to be there. And that's why people in, you know, this spirituality realm anyway, are always telling you to look within, find your own truth. We're just conditioned to listen and believe the voice on the, you know, the doctor or the voice. Not that doctors are bad. I mean, I stepped on a rusty nail. Okay, it's a good thing that we can get something like a tetanus shot so we don't
Absolutely.
But, you know, there's a lot of not good stuff that comes along with it too. You know, over abuse of all these man-made chemical drugs rather than natural stuff. You know, I mean, there's all different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
There's good and there's bad in everything. So that's why you have to find your truth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What we're really talking about is here, what do you want to focus on? Do you want to get all worked up about, oh my God, there's all these chemicals in all the drugs and the foods and everything? Or do you want to focus on, I'm getting healthier and healthier, and I'm just enjoying the fact that, you know, despite everything they're trying to put into my brain, I've been programming myself the other way. And I mean, Louise had a perfect example of that. You know, Louise has been going through these medical things with, you know, the thyroid issue and so forth. Well, just 2 days ago, I think it was, we were in the supermarket, and she's had a lot of issue with energy level, just not being able to do very much. Well, she was practically running through the supermarket, and turning to me and saying, "Look at me, I'm running through the supermarket." She was so excited.
Yeah.
Her mindset had shifted enough that she was able to basically, through law of attraction, attract better health, and the issues were starting to go away. Now, they aren't gone completely, but she had made progress.
Yeah.
And that progress is everything, because when you have that progress, then you realize, gee, it doesn't really matter what all those other people are saying. It's what matters is what I'm thinking, what I feel, what I decide is going to happen. That's where all the power is.
Right. Now, one more thing I want to say about all the medical stuff, too, though, is there's a lot of naturopathic remedies out there, so much that is helping so many people, but they can't get that voice. They don't have the stage like the drug companies do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's out there, too. It's like, what do you want to listen to? What feels good? You know?
Well, it's both. It's out there and it's inside. I mean, what's going on inside? The voice inside, the one that you're talking to yourself with, is really the most important one anyway.
Yeah. So if you're listening to something and it just doesn't feel right, you're like, oh, maybe there's an alternative to that, or maybe there's another point of view on that. Let me search the opposite of it and see what comes up.
In other words, do what Abraham says. Focus on what you want rather than not on what you don't want. Focus on what you prefer instead of what you don't want to have happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get much better results that way. So with that as a backtrack, I'm going to be really curious, because every single time that you pull the cards, the card always ties in with what we're talking about. So I'm just curious to see what's it going to tie into with what we're talking about today, because I know there's going to be a tie-in. I just don't know what it's going to be.
Okay, let's see. I'm just going to split the deck. Ooh, I might have to get 2 cards because it kind of did a weird split.
Ah, okay.
Let's see. Feed your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time, and this and body talk.
Oh, wow, yes.
So if they fall out of the deck, I have to go with them. I had a client the other day, and 3 cards fell on the floor.
Uh-huh.
I was only going to pick 1, right? And so we did the reading based on those 3 cards. They were so spot on to everything that just went on in the whole healing session.
Well, even just without you even reading the descriptions of those cards, just the title of the cards, I can tell just fits in perfectly with what we were talking about.
Let's see what she has to say about it, though.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope I don't need glasses for this. Let's see. 47. Oh, I opened to it. I love when I open to it. It makes it that much more fun. Yes, she has little tiny words. Okay, let's see.
Get the magnification going.
These glasses are breaking. I have to pull out my other pair. Okay, so feed your spirit. It says, just as you feed your body, you must also feed your spirit. It makes you stronger, energized, and more powerful. Most people are unaware of what feeds their spirit.
Mm.
But even if they know, they neglect to follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be guilty of this. Feeding your spirit comes from choosing experiences that empower you and help you to feel more authentic, spontaneous, and joyfully alive. Your spirit's food is personal. Only you know what your spirit hungers for. My spirit, this is Sonia Choquette, for example, is fed by exercise, dancing, time with my children, good coffee, and walks with my husband. What feeds another may be a run on the beach, cooking, singing, or sleeping on a down pillow. Think about your spirit's diet, and it says the more that you feed it, the stronger it becomes. And when your spirit is strong, your vibes are loud and clear. Don't be a psychic anorexic. Have you had this part before? Feed your spirit every day. I love that.
A psychic anorexic. Well, yeah, we want to avoid that.
It must have been in one of my videos, because that term's come up recently. Wasn't on the show?
No, I don't remember that one on the show. No.
All right. Psychic anorexic. Okay, so now we'll look at take your time.
Okay.
Feed your
by the way, that just seems to naturally follow. I mean, it's like the perfect card to come right after, feed your spirit.
Right. And really, by feeding your spirit, even the littlest bit each day really lifts you up.
No kidding.
And if you kind of feel yourself dwindling, it's like, okay, wait, put the brakes on, cancel that stuff. I'm not going there. I had that a few times this week, right? And my energy started dipping. I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going there. Sorry, ego. Soul, man. I like this place. I'm not going over there. And so I didn't go. Okay.
That's good.
Pick your time. Number 43.
Jeffrey says, I hear Olivia Newton-John. Let me hear your body talk.
Okay, so it says, slow down, take your time. There's no rush right now to make decisions. You can't feel your vibes, let alone trust them if you're overbooked, juggling too many things at one time, constantly playing catch up or racing around like crazy. Okay, so maybe that's your half an hour here now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Being that hurried will not only dim your awareness to nothing more than a whirlwind gray fog of confusion, but you'll also miss the subtle, intuitive guidance of your soul. The pace you're keeping is caused by fear that there isn't enough time left.
That's a good point.
So cool it. When it comes to the soul, there's enough for everyone and everything, including time. You're being guided to allow time to work in your favor. Assume a more leisurely rhythm and trust and actually stretch time. The elements necessary for your success aren't fully present yet, but they're coming together behind the scenes. Wait a little longer until more becomes evident. You'll be glad that you did. Trust your vibes and wait patiently for the right moment to make a decision, and don't let anyone or anything pressure you to do so.
Okay.
So that's really, tuning in. Yeah. I like that taking your time thing, especially when you find yourself really getting so busy. I know I actually was so busy for months, And then I just, something clicked. I'm like, what am I doing? I need to do some of these other things or just chill. And now I flipped that whole thing to now I'm like, what was filling up my time? Because it's not filling it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's really different except for the decision not to be constantly pushing myself to do one more thing or to do this or to do that. It's like stretching time. So the more that I've been in this more chill kind of a place, things have done easier where I have more time.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm going to look at it like more in that soul space and not in that ego space.
Well, it's an interesting point because, like you said, I have been this past week, especially dealing with hour here, half hour there, just one little thing after another, and at times getting frustrated about it. As I look at what's been going on, what I see is something that, from my perspective, there is an urgency to it. It directly affects our ability to earn a living and what we're actually doing to earn a living right now. And on the one hand, I see exactly what the cards are saying. On the one hand, the cards are saying, what the card is saying, slow down. Like the old Simon & Garfunkel song, slow down, you're moving too fast. You got to make the morning last. You got to just, chill. Take it easy. Everything's going to work out fine. And on the other hand, I see this pile of stuff that's piled up. And I say to myself, like they said, there's a fear involved in there. What's the fear that's driving that? It's a good question. It's a question I really need to ask head on. Why am I so afraid of that stuff piling up? Because I'm sure once I can find a way to be at peace with that, the stuff's going to stop piling up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I know I was constantly always busy with lists to do, and now I haven't been doing that. I don't know. I don't know. I can't even tell you exactly how I shifted that. Maybe it was kind of gradual.
Yeah.
And probably because I've been doing a lot of talking about staying out of that ego space and going back into the soul space. So maybe the more I've been flipping myself back to everything's working out. Oh, another thing I'm getting reminded now to bring in is, we have help in spirit. We just do. We've got guides, angels, masters. We've got this team that we can't see, but they're there. But you have to ask for help. We have free will. They cannot do anything for you just because you're struggling or because you don't have enough time. You have to ask. Okay, listen, spirit, make more time for me, please. Show me how to get all of this done without getting into that frantic mode, or whatever it is. Just ask. Find your own way to ask the questions, and just trust it'll be there. Because the more you open in that way, things pop in, and you're like, oh, wow, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that's because I asked. Like one thing that always works is when you can't find something or you just forgot something. I ask my runner angels. I've told you about this before, and I got it from Sonia Choquette. She calls them that, the runner angels. Your runners, like gophers.
Right.
Like, listen, I can't find this thing. Show me where it's at, like, and the next thing you know, you find it. Like, I've done it so many times. I got my son doing it. I got my husband doing it. I got everybody I talk to doing this. Now, when you have an experience like that for yourself, and you're like, holy shit, this works. I even looked there before and it wasn't there, but now it's all of a sudden there. I couldn't see it. It wasn't there. What? You have your own experience and you're like, ooh, this stuff really works. There might be something to this. Maybe I should try it again. So you open up to it more and more.
That kind of mindfulness is a good idea too, because it's so easy when you say, okay, help me find this, bring this thing to me. And then the thing shows up and it's like, oh God, finally, I'm glad it finally showed up. And you forgot you asked. You forgot you put it out there. You have to kind of maintain a mindfulness like, oh yeah, I asked for that, didn't I?
Right.
Thank you for that. And now I got to repeat the process. Yeah. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah. Well, you know what? See, another thing too, we didn't talk about this in a while, is like, I think I've told you when I go to sleep, I put myself in night school, right?
Right.
Now, I was recently listening to someone. Her name is Dr. Lauren Cielo.
Okay. I
saw her on Gaia. And she was talking about how, when you go to sleep, you leave your body. Okay. Right. I think a lot of people know that. And you go through different planes on the astral level. Now, I know for me, I know I'm so busy because I put myself in night school. I'm like, teach me this, teach me that, whatever, right? Spirit, make me more psychic or whatever it is that I want to create. I'll say, teach me while I'm sleeping. And I love that she added, and so your body is left behind. You ask the healers to come in and give healing to whatever's needed within your body. She calls it your animal that you walk around in, right? So it's your car, like this thing that allows us to travel the world.
Right.
So, she mentioned that if you've gone like all the way out to like the 12th, what did she call it? Dimension in the astral plane, you're working with the masters and you won't remember your dreams. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it is. I put myself in night school, right? And I'm like, why can't I remember this? Like, I'll wake up and I know I was so busy just doing something, but in an instant, it's totally gone. I can't remember anything about it. I know I was just doing something. Like, I know it, but I don't know what the heck it was.
Right.
So when I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay. And then another thing she mentioned, and I'm sure you've had this experience. She's like, when you're, so say you're, you go out in astral plane, and if you go to the third dimension, I don't remember what she called it. I think she called it dimension. And you find that you're in this dream, and I used to have this. I remember this. And you go to throw a punch, but it's slow motion.
Oh yeah, everything's slow motion, right?
Or you're running and you just can't run fast, and it's like because it's a very dense plane.
Right. Okay.
It's a very dense energy, so that's why the punch can't move fast, because it's so dense.
Yes.
Have you had that? You can't close the door, although it just won't fit,
And it makes sense because you say it's a dense energy. A dense energy usually means that it's something you're not feeling good about. And typically when you're in that dream is about something going on that you don't like, that you're trying to get away from, or you're trying to handle, or you're trying to deal with, and nothing you do makes any difference because you're moving so slowly. It fits.
But even more than that, dense meaning heavy, thick. So if you're in a really light atmosphere, the punch will be fast. When it's dense, you can't move through it fast. It's hard to move through it.
Right.
And then the fourth, and she didn't mention all of them, but she said the fourth dimension is where you'll have dreams about family and friends. There'll be a lot of that happening when you're out in that level of the astral plane.
Okay.
So I'd like to go to her website, maybe learn some more. See where she describes all of them. It would be interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for sharing those. That's fun.
Yeah, but she was saying, if you want to become, because this woman, she said she used to be, she was a very successful athlete. Then she was a really successful engineer. But she had this awakening and it brought her to psychic. Now she's like, the solar plexus, that's that third chakra, the golden one. And that's like, it's a manifesting center. It's how you put yourself out there in the world. It reflects what it is that you do. It's how people perceive you, that kind of a thing. She goes, so for a long time I had, and all my images and all of my pictures were all engineering stuff. Mm-hmm. She's like, but now I'm getting into this psychic thing. I need to develop my psychic side of me more. So she started saying, putting herself out there and saying, teach me how to be more psychic, and started putting more of these psychic pictures in there. So it changed the whole dynamic through that solar plexus chakra of what she does now, mm-hmm. who she is, how she puts herself out there. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So okay. I thought, well, that was really cool.
It is.
Yeah, I'm glad I go to night school, because now I understand it even more.
And for people who may not have been around for those previous episodes where you discussed it, talk about what night school is. So what are you using it for? How are you doing it? How does all that work?
Well, I learned it in a course for learning this gate healing modality that I do. Mm-hmm. And that instructor, it was like a 3-day course, right? So we come back on the second day. How's everybody feeling? How did you sleep last night? And people are sharing their experience. And I felt like I was in the course again and doing it. He's like, oh, really? And a lot of people had this experience, like we were busy learning something, but not knowing what it was. He goes, that's because I put you all in night school last night, and I was teaching you while you were asleep. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to go to night school to learn all sorts of stuff. So that's where it came for me, at least anyway. That's how I opened to that. And I guess just through experience, I feel like, or I just trust, because I know there's spirit and there's all this help out there, that when I say I'm going to go to night school, teach me more about this, or show me in what way I can help the most people, or whatever that is. This is what the kind of thing that I'll work on. Mm-hmm.
So basically what you do is you put a request out as you're going to sleep?
Put a request out. Teach me this, show me that. Or just tell my higher self, teach me whatever is for my highest good at this time. Like, what do I need to move forward? Mm-hmm. I might not even know what it is. I'll just say, teach me.
So you often leave it open-ended?
Yeah, either way. If there's something I know I want to hook into more and learn more. Mm-hmm. But as far as with all the healing work, like, I don't know, there might be some modality or something that isn't taught here, right? That I'm supposed to be doing, or that I've done in another dimensional aspect of myself, mm-hmm. because we've had many lives.
Certainly have, from all the reports I've heard, yeah.
We've been all sorts of stuff. So, and your higher self, knows what all of that is. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like I don't even have to know what it is, because once I get in that space where I'm doing healing work, I'm just channeling the energy. I'm asking for the healing to come through, and however Spirit wants to send it through is going to come through. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're basically saying, I don't necessarily have to know how it works. I'm just letting it happen the way. If I need to know how it works, teach me.
Yeah.
If not, I'll just be this channel. Mm-hmm. So you just build a kind of your way of interacting with your guides.
Right.
And, they know what you want. They know what's next for you. But you have to have a connection or talk to them.
And like you said, when you started this little piece here, you said you have to ask. And how often do we not ask? I mean, it's amazing. We can go through life and, we're dealing with stuff and so forth, and we just forget to ask. I'm like, I need some help. Ask, give me some help here. I'm looking for X. Send me X, whatever it is.
It's funny because I told you I was trimming trees. So I got one of those, and it chops the thing, right? Not always easy. It's like an anvil on the end. Nope. So I'm up on a ladder and I'm doing these higher branches, and I'm reaching, I was moving the ladder, but like I had this, and it was so hard to get through this one. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I can't do this. Right? And then I hear, you can do this. So I'm like, yeah, I could do this. It's like I had to be reminded, or like I needed that little extra oomph. And then
right.
The energy came through me, and I did it. But I was like about to give up. I was going to call my husband over. Yeah, man, I can't do this one. Can you come here?
Well, you reached inside. You got more energy than you needed, really.
Yeah, it's like, you can do it. So then I'm like, I can do it. And then it was great, because then there were some other branches that were probably too thick for the tool I was using.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can do it. I was so fatigued, but I was having so much fun doing it, because I was playing with my guides while I'm doing it.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And you know, it's even more fun while I'm doing all of that and that's why I've been having fun in my yard. Like so much nature. Like I had a dragonfly land on my arm. I took some pictures of some like neon blue, and one was neon green. This butterfly has been showing up, both the male and the female. The female is mostly black. So many of these spirit animals have been coming through. Frogs, bees, you name it. So I've been having fun being out in nature, you know, really putting yourself down. And I guess that's what I needed for me as part of how I'm discharging stuff and re-energizing and opening up for more stuff to download to me.
Well, the fact that you were having so much fun tells me absolutely you needed that. That's why it came. Yeah. That, you know, you were asking for what you needed, and you asked in a positive way, and it came through in spades for you. Of course, that's what you needed. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tricky thing is, it was fun and it was exhausting. So, and I'm one of those that will keep pushing. I probably should have stopped way before I stopped, because you know, then like the next day or 2 days later, I'm like, oh my God, I overdid it. My body's pulling me. I could have just stopped, but no, I just kept going. That's just
you and our gardeners. We have had both male and female gardeners, but right now all of our gardeners are female, and inevitably they will all push further than they should. And we're constantly telling them, no, don't do that. We want you to be able to come to work tomorrow. We don't want you to have to take the day off because you hurt yourself. But inevitably, they'll just keep trying to punch through it. Is that an ongoing thing?
You think that's a female thing?
I don't think it's necessarily female. I just noted the fact that they were all female gardeners because I figured there must be something of interest there, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But I think part of it is just that we get more feedback from the female gardeners than from the male gardeners. The male gardeners don't tend to tell us very much. I mean, they'll tell us what we need to know about what happened with getting the job done, but the details are missing other than that, you know. Right. Whereas women will tell us a lot more. I
had my son, cutting into with the chainsaw this stump. I had this tree stump that I had I did a mosaic tabletop for, but it didn't last well through the weather. And anyway, so now I was chopping down that. It's a couple of years old anyway. Chopping down that stump, right? So, and I'm like, so go a little lower and just make it level, because I want to put a nice plant pot on there, and I'll put some plants around the base or something like this, right? So he was doing that, but then and we have a couple of different chainsaws, but the blade must have got dull. He started getting frustrated. He goes, I'm done. I'm not doing anymore. I'll do more tomorrow if you want, but that's it. I'm not doing any more today. Where I probably would have been like, I'm almost done. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to go get another chainsaw, you know?
Yeah, right.
If the blade's no good here, I got 2 more, 3 more. I'll just find one that works. Yeah.
That's funny.
So that could be a male-female thing.
I don't know. I have no idea.
And you know what? There was no need to push through it, really. There's no urgency. So why not stop and take it up tomorrow when you're fresh instead of push through it? You know?
And especially with gardening, I mean, because our gardeners are out there like 5 or 6 hours every single day, so they're really hardcore. And it's not so much now, but earlier in the summer when we had some of those really, really hot and humid days, getting up into the high 90s and all that, and we're trying to say, go home. Oh, no, I'm almost done. And we're saying, oh, please take care of her. We don't want her to get sick.
Yeah. That's when you're going to put extra bubbles of light around them.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so body talk.
Okay, here we go.
Number 7. Oh, I have it. Okay. So this one says,
I got it. Before you get to that, I have a question from, I think it's from Nasha, actually. She says, how do I ask my guide to help me with love on?
Okay. To get her love on?
I guess that's what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Just ask them. Just talk like you would talk to your friend sitting next to you, but it's one of your guides. And just say, so if you want to bring in romance or is it family relationship in some way? I don't know. Maybe she could elaborate on that.
Well, it almost doesn't matter. I mean, no matter what it is.
It doesn't even matter. Yeah. Just talk to, your own guides and angels and masters that are here to help you. There's a lot of beings out there, but I like to work with them, work with your higher self maybe, and just say, talk to them. Just talk to them, because I don't know what the thing is that you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Romantic. Okay. Yeah. So.
But I think you're right on. I mean, it really comes down to one thing. Just, you got to ask. You just do the asking.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how to do it. Just do it.
Or if you feel like maybe there's some area that you're lacking in, that you think if you were more open this way, then maybe, or, I don't know, whatever it is. So you just tell your guys, show me how to be this, or show me how to, stay in my heart and be non-judgmental towards my spouse, boyfriend, whatever it is. Or, I don't know, whatever. I think, Nasha, you just talk. Talk like you would talk to me, only you're talking to your guide.
Yeah.
Your angel, your higher self, A
nice, easy way to do that is treat it like it's a mirror exercise. Just look in a mirror and talk to yourself. Because when you're talking to yourself, you're talking internally. So have a little conversation with yourself.
And I like to ask for signs too. I'm like, so if there's a specific question, like maybe, I'm not really sure about this guy. It feels right. He's got pretty much the whole package, but, send me a sign that this particular person is actually here for my highest good, and this is right. And be specific, like send me a feather, or send me a penny, or show me a bubble. I don't know, whatever it is, and then it can come in any way. It could be an actual feather. It could be a picture of a feather. It could be something on a billboard, something you hear, a song that comes in. I mean, it can come in so many different ways, but you'll know because it'll hit you.
And as I think about it, there is actually one thing that we want to do and one thing we want to avoid. We want to make sure that we're asking in the positive form. This is what, I want this. Help me get this. Not help me to avoid that. You want to stay away from the negation and express it purely in terms of the positive, how you actually want.
I'd say even don't say I want, because you'll be wanting forever.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Show me how.
Show me how.
Blah, blah, blah. Or, what is it that I need to know more of? Or whatever, be more specific. But when you're asking for a sign, you can only get yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask if this is wrong, or if the answer, if this is a no, like stop, don't go any further, send me this. You know what I mean? It can't be iffy when you're asking for some kind of a sign. It has to be clear.
Yes.
It's like talking to your pendulum. Working with the pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
If you're asking something that it can't give a clear yes or no, I know mine goes.
It just goes, it starts to freak out.
It's like, doesn't compute. Ask that. Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
So let's read body talk.
Body talk.
Does your gut rumble, your chest tighten, and the hair on your arms rise in certain situations?
Mm.
Does your heart race and your head pound? Do you get a lump in your throat at other times? Pay close attention to these signals, because your body's talking to you, and what it's saying is important. See, this is a good way to tune in to hear and feel and sense your intuition to get your answers, right? It has a language of its own, unique and consistent, and with a little awareness, you'll begin to read what your body's vibes are trying to tell you, whether it's a warning or a good vibe. Learn to read your body's vibes by running a mental scanner over it several times a day and asking yourself over your body.
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself, how do I feel physically right now? Take your awareness a step further and actually talk to your body. Ask it aloud for feedback and trust what you get. Don't overthink it. Take the first thought or feeling that pops up as accurate and use the information to guide you. This is 6 sensory health insurance.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, you just a moment ago talked about requesting a sign. A sign can certainly come through your body.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So often it's good just to pay attention to what's going on inside if you're trying to get a sense of, so which way should I be going here?
People don't realize just how intuitive they are, because they overlook so much of the messages, the signs, and things that are there coming in, but you're not aware that that's actually a sign, or that's an intuitive hit in some way.
That's certainly me. That's me for the longest time.
Yeah. So when people are just waking up to this, they don't really know. But the more you listen to people like us talking on this show right now, or other YouTubers or whoever, wherever, TV shows, that talk about this, maybe on Gaia. You won't find them too many other places. You have to learn, right? So if you don't know what you know, you need to learn it. Mm-hmm. I say you don't know what you know because you do know this. It's part of you. It's natural. It's just we've been so conditioned away from that truth that we don't always know it.
I like the way Richard Bach expressed that. He says that learning is remembering what you already know.
Right.
I think it's a beautiful way of saying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And teaching is reminding others that they know it too.
That's why I like to refer to like childlike wonder and stuff because, little kids, they're really tuned in and, they got it going on. And then the big people squash them out of it, In
fact, the entire quote, now that I think about it, is learning is remembering what you already know. Teaching is reminding others that they know it. Doing is showing that you know it. And we are all learners, doers, and teachers.
Nice.
That's a good quote.
So let's go to this vibrational energy deck and see what we get out of that one.
By the way, Nasha says, thank you so very much. I believe in signs.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Jeffrey says he talks to Eros, Psyche, and Aphrodite Venus.
Ah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, I got a card. It says, hopeless release.
Okay. Hopeless release. That's interesting.
Yeah, hopeless release.
I'm curious to see what that's going to be about.
Let's see. This book is short and sweet, so.
Okay.
Let's see what it says. Hopeless release.
Jeffrey says, loving you all. This is so on point. Thank you. This feels like old times. How great.
Oh, cool. Okay, hopeless release. The indication that something is hopeless is just in our perception. Every vibration that we encounter has a purpose, a reason for being where it is in your life. At this time in your life, you need to let go, releasing whatever feels discouraging or impossible to finish. Do not feel despair about what is happening to you. Everything is happening for a reason. So to me, that speaks right to all of this.
As usual.
We're really shifting our vibration and it's happening fast and it's hard to keep up with it. And sometimes it feels really, really bad.
But what they're saying there is the more that we can let go, the easier it is to keep up with it. That's the thing to remember. Yeah. And it's hard to remember that sometimes because we just get so wrapped up in the doing. But if we can just find a way to just kind of back off a bit and in the backing off, just kind of slow down and let it work at a more comfortable pace, it all gets done anyway. That's the amazing thing.
It all gets done
anyway. Or the part that needs to get done, it doesn't all get done. I mean, like Abraham says, you'll never get it all done. But the part that needs to get done gets done anyway. You didn't have to fret about it. And boy, it's counterintuitive on the surface, but when you try it and you realize it plays out that way every time, it's like, wow, I really need to remember that. I just need to remember to slow down and let it go because it all gets done that needs to get done anyway.
Yeah, and and if you're beating your head against the wall trying to make something happen, well, maybe you're beating your head against the wall because Spirit's trying to say, go in another direction.
Oh, yeah.
Go in another direction.
That's that sign thing again. What's the signal coming from inside?
So then you want to ask, okay, is this just not happening because I need to go off in another direction? And see what you get.
Louise has a little thing about that. She says, whenever I run into an obstacle, that's a clue for me to go in a different direction.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just a growth, something to learn there, but still, that's why you have to feel your way,
Yep.
So for Louise, maybe that's her signal. It's already set in stone. This is part of my program.
It is.
So then you just go with that and you trust that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's get a spirit animal.
Okay. That sounds good.
Let's get a spirit animal.
Isn't it interesting? I think about a year ago when you first came on, and I was so resistant to cards. Now it's like, oh, bring the cards out. I can hardly wait.
Cards are fun, man. They just, I don't know. Well, there you go. So if you're not sure how to connect with your guides, get a couple of these decks.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You'll get messages. Let me tell you.
You've demonstrated to me week after week after week how the cards absolutely just hit exactly what you need. You don't have to even work on it. I mean, you draw a card and you're done. I mean, it's just that simple.
And you know what? When it doesn't make sense, there's a reason for it. You just got to take it and like, I don't know. Okay, show me what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll show, I told you stories like that, right? People the same card over and over again. Then finally like, I get it. Then they get a different card. Okay, let's get ourselves a nice spirit animal. Let's see what we get. Buffalo spirit.
Buffalo spirit, okay. The abundant universe and what was it?
Will provide.
Will provide, oh, okay.
All right, like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, number 40. Oh, no. Number 10. I better get those glasses.
New prescription time.
Okay, number 10. All right, 8, 9.
Nasha commented, wow, this is for me.
Okay, so 10, and we had it in the upright position. It says, Buffalo Spirit comes to you now to remind you of the amazing manifesting power of gratitude and the extraordinary potential available to you when you adopt a mindset of abundance. Mm-hmm. The ancient people of the Americas saw the buffalo as a symbol of abundance because the herds roamed far and wide and provided so many gifts: the meat, the hide, the bones. The tribes who hunted the buffalo used every bit of them, wasting nothing, appreciative of the abundance. So too do you have many gifts available to you. Buffalo Spirit appears to let you know that you are in a powerful time to manifest your desires. Not by force or by pushing, but rather by following a natural path that rises up before you. Yeah, that's important right there.
That's the letting go of the oars part that Abraham talks about.
Trusting that there's always plenty to go around, whether it be love, money, inspiration, or support, it's all there for you to claim. When you're grateful, you immediately align yourself with the truth that the world is rich and teeming with resources. There's always more than enough, and you are always enough. You are always enough. At this time, you can expect all your intentions and needs to come into a form that is right for you. Your heartfelt gratitude is making you a magnet for miracles. Yay! Buffalo Spirit's message is to remember that you co-create your reality in partnership with Spirit. So offer up your thanks and your prayers even before you see conditions you desire, not just for yourself, but for others too. Then you will quickly see the results in tangible ways. Gratitude has the magic to grow the good. So offer thanks and praise as you acknowledge all that you have and all that is possible. Yeah, that's a nice card to carry through for this week coming up.
Yeah, very, very positive. Very LOA. I mean, they're describing the law of attraction process right there, which is very cool. But doing it from an animal spirit perspective. Yeah, that's an interesting point too about the buffalo, because they're right. Obviously, the buffalo was all over the North American continent a couple hundred years ago, and at that time it was a place of just being, covered. I mean, there were entire landscapes that were covered by the buffalo, and it was pretty intense. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
We have one car in the shop, so my wife needs my car.
No worries.
But the buffalo was just, probably the best way to experience and understand it is to look at the movie that Kevin Costner did called, what was the movie called? It was his big Western.
Yeah.
Where he joins the Sioux people.
And he's on his own out there.
And the name of the movie is his name in the Sioux tribe, and I can't think what it's called. Oh, what's the name of that movie? Dances with Wolves. Wolves. That's it.
Yeah.
Dances with Wolves has a wonderful scene where they're on a buffalo hunt, and they for the movie they were able to basically gather people who maintain herds of buffalo, had this huge herd basically covering the entire plain. and it was mammoth. It was just a huge thing. And now, of course, it probably only covered a few square miles, whereas a few hundred years ago, it would cover like hundreds of square miles. You'd have hundreds of square miles covered with these herds of buffalo. And I say all that because when you think back to where that was at before all the hunting took place and so forth, and they were basically decimated down to the small numbers that there are today, it was in and of itself, it was a representation of abundance. There was an abundance of buffalo. There was an abundance of life, and there was abundance of, like the quote talked about, the ability to provide food and pelts for clothing and so on and so forth. Abundance was just, the huge part of it. So the idea that the buffalo spirit is about abundance, to me, that just resonates in a huge way, because that's exactly what it was all about, especially a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Well, so Jeffrey typed it in. Thank you, Jeffrey. Dances with Wolves. Yeah, there it is. I don't know why I couldn't think of that one.
So do you have any announcements that you might be forgetting to? How's the podcast? How's the other podcast going?
We've been on hiatus because of my mom's passing. We're getting ready to, did I tell you about that?
No, I'm so sorry.
My mom died toward the end of July. It was not unexpected. In fact, I had been expecting it for about 9 to 12 months, to be perfectly honest. So it was not a shock at all to me. I think it may have affected my brother and sister a little bit more than it affected me. And to be perfectly honest, what we talk about here and what I talk about with my other co-hosts helps a lot. I mean, my own spiritual development has gotten me to the point where I don't get upset about death anymore. I mean, it's not like my mom's gone forever. I know she's still around. She's just not in physical form, and it's okay, And quite honestly, she wasn't real happy the last year of her life, so I'm sure she's a much happier person right now.
Oh, she's pure love right now.
Absolutely. But we, of course, on Earth still have to deal with, all the stuff that comes after. So my sister's been planning the memorial service, and Louise and I are driving down to Virginia for that. My brother's flying up from Florida with his wife, and we got relatives coming around from around the country. So we're dealing with all that right now. And so because of that and a few other things, the show's in hiatus. But I'm going to be sending out a message actually to the cast over the weekend, updating them on what's going on and saying we're going to get started again with recording the first week of September or thereabouts. So look for the next episode to come out in September. And then after that, we're going to start trying to really push it to make it happen a lot quicker than once every month and a half. It's going to be closer to once a week.
You know what's interesting about that? Next week, we have my friend Cheryl Murphy on the show with us, psychic medium.
Oh, no.
Why, are we canceling next week?
I have to. We're going to be traveling.
Oh, you didn't let me know.
I forgot that it was for next week. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'll reschedule with her.
So just reschedule her. Yeah, just get her for the week following or whatever. But I completely forgot that we had that. Yes. Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah. So just,
no worries.
Yeah, see if you can reschedule with her. But tell her about it.
Yeah, we'll have her on the show pretty soon.
Yeah, tell people about who she is just so we can give them like a little flavor.
She's a psychic medium. So she teaches everything you want to know about, all kinds of things to do with tapping into your intuition, working with your guides and angels, bringing messages through from past loved ones, even tapping into your energy field to let you know what things are kind of going on or coming up. Mm-hmm. So, we'll let the show go wherever it goes. I'm sure she might even want to do a few readings. We'll ask her, see what she wants to do.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll do some promos on that so everybody can find out. Obviously, our live streamers, I'm sure they're going to be there because they always are. But we'll see if we can get more and more people to be paying attention to the live stream as well as to the podcast. And that'll be a good thing. So, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We got to get the promos in because they're important. Basically, it comes down to one thing. 85% or so of our listeners are subscribers, and they catch all the different shows that we do, 5 a week. But there are another 10 to 15% who don't subscribe or who perhaps are new and have not yet subscribed. And they are the ones we're talking to right now. So we want to encourage you, become a subscriber, get all the episodes that we do every week coming right to your device that you're listening on right now. And it's so simple to do because we're on virtually every podcast platform that's out there now. I mean, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Pandora, we're on Spotify. I mean, you just run through the list and we're on almost all of them. And if you can't find them there, just go to the homepage. That's the easiest way to do it. Go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net, And you'll see right at the top how to subscribe there as well. Plus, we live stream this as we're recording it to YouTube, so you can see our smiling faces as we're doing all this talking and chatting and reading cards and so forth. Just go to YouTube and do a search for LOA Today podcast videos. We'll pop right up. Click the subscribe button and then click the little bell so you get notified every single time that we publish something, so that you can join us. Or if you want to join us for the live stream, you can join us immediately as soon as we click that bell and watch us as we're live streaming and share your comments about what we're talking about here. But whatever you do, make sure you subscribe, because we want you to get your daily doses of happy. We want to have you help us expand the reach of the show so that more and more people get that, because the way I'm looking at it, Linda, we're helping to just share the message of light, of joy, of expansion of what's happening right now here on Earth. And it's a cool message. So Thank you for reminding me to give those messages.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. Before we wrap up, too, I also want to give you a chance to tell the world about Linda Armstrong and her energy coaching service. So talk about that for a moment.
Well, if you want to get in touch with me, you can just go to my website, lovemylife.coach. I've got the YouTube channel. I'm also putting some things on a podcast, another podcast, Linda Armstrong, Love My Life Coach Linda Armstrong. So, yeah, I'm all about releasing what's holding you back so you can move forward, raising your vibration so that you're traveling up with all these changes in the planet and really lifting yourself into that higher vibrational place where manifesting is easy. Yeah, that's what
we like that. We like that easy manifesting.
Well, basically, stuff. Really, ultimately, it's all about living from this energy of love. So when you're living from that energy of love and you can hold that high vibration, everything falls into place. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's lovemylife.coach, because that's what I would be working with healing work and with coaching to help you to raise to that vibration.
And by the way, she kind of skimmed past really quickly the fact that she's got the YouTube channel, but there's a lot there. I mean, there's a massive library of information, so I want to kind of play that up. If you want to get to know Linda, start by going to her YouTube channel and just listen to the immense volume of information she's got available there. Really, really good stuff. So don't want to downplay that one. That's good stuff you got going there, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great place to, I like to do that, number one, because it helps people who may never even think about getting coaching or healing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Learn some things, and you know, no matter what, we're putting that energy out to help people to raise their vibration. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. It is all about that. So, good stuff today. I mean, we started off saying, I don't know what we're going to talk about, and as usual, it turned into something really cool about the cards. Basically, we're just echoing what we started off in the first 5 minutes talking about, as so often happens. It's really amazing how that works. Oh, Jeffrey had a comment too. What's he saying? I will be praying so hard in a few, lots of smudging and singing, working with the buffalo spirit. Thank you for this reminder that spirit is always working out. You're welcome, Jeffrey. Oh, and lighting cedar, sage, and offering tobacco for peace. Prayers for all. Very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. So with that happy thought in mind, I will remind you that, like I was saying earlier, I am going to be gone next Friday. Actually, I'm hoping I can get the Thursday show in with Joel before we leave, but we're going to be gone Friday through the weekend, and I won't be doing a show that Monday either, and I'll be making announcements about that next week as well. Don't even know if we're going to make the Tuesday one just because of the travel time, but we will be back. So if you kind of miss us for a bit, like there's some shows missing, don't worry about it. It just means that we're off dealing with my mom's memorial service, but we will be back, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you again and sharing all the insights that we have from all our wonderful life coaches and friends about how to get yourself and to stay in that high vibration place that we all want to be in so much. So thank you, Linda. Thank you for all your insights. We really appreciate that. Thank you to our live stream listeners. Thank you especially to our podcast listeners. We really love every one of you. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye.